You were never supposed to hear this. Because if you did, you'd stop obeying. You'd stop performing. You'd stop believing in the version of life they sold you. There's a system, ancient, invisible, engineered to break you slowly. Not with chains, but with comfort, with distractions, with empty goals wrapped in gold ribbon. And the moment you began chasing their definition of success, you started losing yourself. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Your life has been hijacked. Not violently, subtly. Your mind rewired to crave validation instead of victory. Your time auctioned off to routines that kill your soul. Your voice softened to make others feel safe. You weren't born to live like this. You were born to build, to dominate, to lead. But somewhere between school bells and performance reviews, you traded power for permission. You learned to wait for approval, wait for the right time, wait for motivation, wait for someone to see you, but no one's coming. Because the system doesn't care about your greatness. It only cares that you comply. They want you tired enough to scroll but never build, tired enough to dream but never do, tired enough to believe in luck but not in your own fire. And it works. You wake up already behind. You chase things you don't want to impress people you don't respect. You silence your instincts because you're scared they'll call you too much. And then you wonder why you feel hollow, even when you win. That's not life. That's a leash. And today, I'm here to rip it off. Not with motivation, not with positivity, with truth. Because the moment you see this, really see this, you don't go back. You don't unhear it. You don't shrink again. This is the beginning of your unraveling. Not into chaos, into clarity. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are distracted. You are manipulated. You are asleep. And this voice, my voice, is not here to make you feel better. It's here to make you wake the hell up. Because the world isn't waiting for another nice person. It's waiting for someone dangerous enough to stop performing and start becoming. So sit up, lean in. This isn't a speech. This is a reprogramming. A memory of the power they tried to make you forget. And by the end of this, you'll remember exactly who the hell you are. They told you there was a schedule, that if you didn't have your life figured out by 25, you were a failure. That if you didn't own a house by 30, you were falling behind. That if you didn't have kids by 35, something was wrong with you. A silent checklist, handed down without question. But let me ask you this, who wrote that list? Because it sure as hell wasn't someone who wanted you free. It was written by a system that profits off your panic. A system that needs you to compare, to doubt, to chase a life that isn't yours. This timetable wasn't made for you. It was made to control you. You feel behind not because you're failing, but because you're running a race that was never yours to begin with. They engineered it this way, so you'd chase degrees you didn't need, marry people you weren't ready for, get jobs you hate just to afford things that don't matter, and then call it success. It's not success. It's a slow death dressed up in milestones. And what's worse? They made you believe that if you don't hit the deadline, you lose value. You feel shame. You compare yourself to others. You internalize the lie that your timing is wrong. But here's the truth they'll never say out loud. There is no deadline. No one is late to a path that's their own. The oak tree doesn't rush to bloom just because the cherry blossom bloomed in spring. It waits, it grows slowly. And when it finally arrives, it's unshakable. But you're looking at timelines that don't belong to you. You're measuring your worth with someone else's ruler. You're poisoning your potential with clocks that were never set for your mission. Let me make it clear, you're not late, you're just distracted. And the moment you reclaim your internal time, the shame evaporates. Because real growth doesn't follow a script. Real success doesn't have a deadline, it has alignment. When your soul, our purpose, your power click into place, everything changes. But you'll never find it running someone else's race. You'll find it the moment you step off the path you were told to follow and start walking the one you were born for. That's the only timetable that matters, the one written in your blood. And when you finally realize that, the clock stops ticking, the pressure disappears, and you begin, truly begin. Not because you're on time, but because you're finally on track. They had to make you forget, because if you ever remembered what you were capable of, this entire illusion would collapse overnight. They couldn't risk that. So they buried it. Not in a vault, but in plain sight. See, your power was never taken from you. It was traded, moment by moment, belief by belief, until the fire inside you became a flicker, barely noticeable, even to yourself. And the scariest part? You helped them do it. Every time you doubted your instinct, every time you settled for realistic, every time you said, maybe I'm just not that kind of person, you weren't being humble. You were being hijacked. You were born with something no system can replicate. Agency, the ability to choose, to direct, to override the script. But they replaced it with programming, and you let them. They taught you to ignore your gut, to silence your intuition, to dismiss your fire as ego or arrogance. Because if you ever truly owned it, if you ever looked in the mirror and saw what's really inside you, you'd stop playing the role and start writing the damn story. Let me tell you something no one has ever told you straight. You are not powerless. You are undisciplined. You are not confused. You are overstimulated. You are not broken. You are unfocused. And focus is a superpower. The people running the world, they aren't the smartest. They aren't the most talented. They are the most focused. They don't get pulled by emotion. They don't chase 12 ideas at once. They know how to choose a direction and burn the rest down. You've got the same power, but it's been diluted, leaked through endless tabs, conversations, notifications, impulses, until you're busy all day and still feel like you're not moving. Here's what they didn't want you to know. Every single day you're building something, a mind, a pattern, a system. The question is, are you building into, intentionally, or being built by default? Because you are programmable. But the choice of programmer, that's where your power lives. And today, you take that back. You choose what to feed your mind. You choose what to cut out, who to ignore, what fire to chase. And when that choice becomes a habit, that's when people start calling you gifted. It's not a gift, it's a decision, made every day, against the grain, until the world doesn't recognize you anymore, and you finally recognize yourself. So before we go further, go to the comments. Right now, type it twice. I am not for sale. I am not for sale. Because once you reclaim your power, they'll try to buy it back. With attention, with comfort, with applause. Don't sell it. Don't lease it. Don't give it away. From this moment forward, you build, you command, you lead. Let me make something very clear. Your mind is not your friend by default. Left untrained, it's a saboteur. It will lie to you. It will feed you fear as logic. It will convince you that comfort is safety and that growth is danger. And if you don't control it, someone else will. The world is filled with people being controlled by voices that aren't even theirs. That's the real war, not outside, but inside. And you've been losing it because no one ever showed you how to fight it. Your mind is a machine, a pattern-making, storytelling, survival-obsessed machine. And it will replay every insecurity, every trauma, every doubt, until it becomes identity. Not because it's true, but because repetition is how belief is built. Think about it. How many times have you thought something like, I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. It's too late for me. I'm not like them. I'm just tired. And you think those are thoughts? They're commands. And every time you repeat them, your mind obeys and builds around them. Now multiply that by 20 years. No wonder people feel stuck. No wonder change feels impossible. You're not stuck in life. You're stuck in a mental loop. Here's the truth you've never been told. You can reprogram it, but it won't happen by accident. It happens by war. By cutting the old voice off mid-sentence and replacing it with a new one. Relentlessly, repetitively, violently, if needed. Because if you don't override the program will override you. This is not about positive thinking. This is about conscious control. Every thought is a seed, and your attention is water. Whatever you feed, grows, and whatever you starve, dies. You want power? Starve your excuses, starve your stories, starve your inner victim, and feed the version of you that scares people. The calm, the focused, the relentless, the version that speaks wit, precision, and moves without waiting. Because once your mind aligns with that, you become dangerous. You walk into rooms differently. People feel you without you having to say a word. Not because you're loud, but because you're centered. That's the game. Not to get rid of fear, but to be the one who speaks louder than it. Not to destroy doubt, but to be the one who moves despite it. Your mind is a weapon. The only question is, who's pulling the trigger? You or the version of you built by fear? Make the decision now. Lock it in. This is no longer just information. This is initiation. From here, we don't go back. We don't entertain weakness. We don't rehearse failure. We execute. We build. We command. Success, the unfiltered truth they never told you because they knew you couldn't unsee it. Success isn't pretty. It's not champagne toasts. It's not vision boards and good vibes. It's not followers, filters, Ferraris, or freedom. Success is war. It's loneliness. It's doubt. It's waking up every day with no applause, no reward, no reassurance, and still showing up anyway. It's bleeding for something no one understands but you. But they won't tell you that, because if they did, the myth would collapse. They've sold you a lie. That success is easy if you just find your passion. That alignment means everything flows, that you'll feel ready when the time comes. No, you won't feel ready. You'll feel scared. You'll feel uncertain. You'll feel like a fraud every single day until you earn the right to believe otherwise. You think success is about believing in yourself? Try building when no one believes in you. Try pushing when it feels like you're invisible. Try holding the line when your whole body wants to quit. That's the real test. You won't be applauded. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be questioned. You'll be mocked, ignored, doubted, even by the people who say they support you. And the worst part? You'll start to believe them. You'll hear their voices in your head at 2 a.m. You'll see people taking shortcuts and winning faster. You'll wonder if it's worth it. You'll question your own sanity. That's the price. But if you survive that, if you push through the darkness without needing a flashlight, if you move without guarantees, you earn something they can't fake. Unshakable self-respect, because you didn't buy it. You built it, brick by painful brick. And when you finally taste real success, not popularity but personal power, it changes your DNA. You become dangerous, not because you're loud, but because you don't need validation anymore. Validate yourself. And when they realize they can't control you with praise or punish you with silence, they start to fear you. That's when you know you're on the right path. Not when people like you, but when people feel threatened by your existence. You want success? Then stop looking for balance. Start looking for leverage, time, discipline, obsession. These are not motivational words. They are weapons. Success is for the ones who keep swinging, long after the crowd leaves. So forget what you thought success looked like. It's not on stage. It's not in your feed. It's in the silence when no one's watching, and you choose to move anyway. And that choice, that moment, it will either define you or destroy you. Failure, the crucifixion before rebirth, the place most people die, and the few awaken. Everyone talks about failure like it's cute, like it's this little stepping stone on the way to greatness. Something you embrace, reflect on, and journal about. They have no idea. Real failure doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't show up softly. It wrecks you. Publicly, privately, emotionally, financially. It strips you naked, takes your pride, your plans, your momentum, and leaves you on the floor wondering if any of this was ever real. You want to know who you really are? Face failure. Not the kind you can post about. The kind that hurts. The kind that empties your bank account, shames you in front of people you once inspired, takes the breath out of your chest while everyone else moves on like you were never here. And when that moment comes, not if when, you'll hear two voices. One will say, "You're done. It's over. You never had it anyway." The other will whisper, "Get up, slowly, quietly, and start again." That second voice, that's your real self. But you won't hear it if you're too busy whining. You won't hear it if you're obsessed with fairness. You won't hear it if you're still holding on to who you used to be. Because failure kills. Not just your reputation. It kills your old self. The entitled version, the naive version, the version of you that thought greatness was going to come on schedule. Failure puts a gun to that identity's head and pulls the trigger. And when the dust clears, here's what you're left with. Clarity, pain, and choice. Do you crawl back to the illusion, or do you stand up, built from the ashes? Because here's the secret. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the price of it. And most people are too cheap to pay. They want easy wins. They want applause without scars. They want progress without loss. But not the son. And real is built that way. The people you admire, they failed more times than you've tried. But the difference? They kept going. They didn't let failure define them. They used it. They used it to sharpen, to cut off dead weight, to become so dialed in, so cold, so obsessed, that nothing else mattered. And when they rose again, they were unrecognizable. That's who you're becoming. So the next time life drops you, hard, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What version of me just died?" And then bury it, without apology, without tears. Because what rises after that? That's not a comeback. That's your true self finally stepping in. And that version can't be broken again. The life journey, the path they never prepared you for because it was never meant for the average. Your life is not a straight line. It's not a checklist. It's not a staircase where every step is neat, clean, and logical. Your life is a battlefield, a labyrinth, twists, spirals, dead ends. And the further you go, the louder the voices get. The ones that say you're lost. The ones that tell you it's too late. The ones that whisper, "Turn back." They lied. This path was never meant to be smooth, because if it was, everyone would make it. But they don't. They break. Why? Because they thought life was about arrival. They thought success was the end. They didn't understand. The journey itself is the crucible. Let me put this in your blood. You are not here to arrive. You are here to become. That means pain isn't the detour. It's the teacher. Confusion isn't failure. It's transition. Isolation isn't punishment. It's preparation. You keep waiting for a version of the journey that makes sense. But what if it's not supposed to? What if life is supposed to break you open, again and again, until there's nothing left but truth? No mask, no performance, no strategy. Just you, raw, real, forged in fire. You were never supposed to fit in. You were supposed to outgrow every environment that tried to limit you. That means losing people, losing comfort, losing everything that made you small. But we weren't trained for that. We were trained to stay, to maintain, to settle, to keep the peace. But greatness has never been found in peace. Greatness is born in chaos. In the moment you're down to nothing and still choose to build, not for applause, not for proof, but because something deeper inside you refuses to stay silent. That's the journey. And let me tell you something most people won't. It never ends. There is no finish line. There is no moment where it all clicks and stays perfect. There is only the next level and the next war and the next version of you that must be summoned. You'll feel lost. You'll question it all. You'll doubt the path again and again. But every time you rise, even shakily, you become something the world can't measure. You become inevitable. So stop trying to make your life look like someone else's map. You're not following. You're forging. The journey doesn't get easier. You just get stronger, clearer, colder, more precise. And one day, the pain, the confusion, the detours, they won't feel like mistakes. They'll feel like initiation. Manipulation, the invisible chains around your mind and how to burn them off. Manipulation isn't a magic trick. It's a science, and you've been the subject of it since you were old enough to sit still. No one had to threaten you. They didn't need force. All they needed was control of your attention. Because the moment they control what you focus on, they control what you believe, what you feel, what you do, who you become. Look around. Distraction isn't an accident. It's a design. You've been trained to scroll when you're anxious, buy when you're insecure, numb when you're overwhelmed, react when you should observe, apologize when you should command. That's not human error. That's manipulation. They hijacked your emotional triggers, fear, guilt, shame, envy. They made you think those feelings were weaknesses, so you'd run from them, suppress them, avoid them. But here's the raw truth. Every emotion is data. Every reaction is a leverage point. And the people who rule the world, they don't ignore emotions. They use them. They weaponize their calm. They engineer their words. They know how to enter your mind without asking permission. And you gave that permission. Every time you scrolled instead of thinking. Every time you reacted instead of questioning. Every time you absorbed instead of deciding. You think you're free? You're not free until your reactions are yours. You're not free until you know when your attention is being pulled, and you choose to hold it anyway. Because the most powerful people in the world don't just resist manipulation. They understand it. They use it, not to control others, but to protect their own kingdom. Your mind, your mood, your moves. That's your kingdom. And every day you let someone else shape it. Through their news, through their drama, through their crisis. You give up your crown. But here's the shift. You can flip it. Right now, you can stop being the pawn and become the player. Master persuasion, master presence, master silence. That's how you reverse the spell. People who can manipulate others, powerful. But people who can't be manipulated, untouchable. So let me ask you, are your beliefs truly yours, or were they installed? Are your goals your own, or were they marketed to you? Is your life designed or downloaded? Because until you answer that, you are living a simulation. A personality engineered by advertisers, politicians, influencers, and fear. But not anymore. From this moment forward, you choose. You decide what gets your attention, what gets your energy, what gets access to your mind. And when you start guarding that door like your life depends on it, you become someone the world has no defense against. Because you'll no longer move like them. You'll move like a creator, the awakening, becoming what the world fears most, someone fully awake, fully alive, and fully self-led. You feel it now, don't you? That flicker in your chest, that pressure behind your eyes, that pull, like something is about to break inside of you. Let it, because that something is the old you, the compliant one, the one that waited, the one that asked for permission to matter, the one that needed applause to feel alive. It ends now. You don't need another quote, another post, another motivational video to get back on track. You need one thing, to decide. Not wish, not hope. Decide who you're going to be from this day forward, what you're going to tolerate, what gets your time, what gets your fire, what gets you. That's what no one tells you. You don't become great by chance. You become great by annihilating who you are to create who you were meant to be. That means you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop explaining yourself to the blind. You stop apologizing for being intense, focused, relentless. You were not built to be liked. You were built to lead. But leadership isn't about titles. It's about identity. And right now, your identity is being reborn. Not in comfort, but in confrontation with yourself. You want to know why most people stay stuck? Because becoming who you're meant to be requires murdering who you've been. It means cutting the fake smiles. It means burning the fake goals. It means staring into the mirror and admitting that the only thing in your way was you. But if you can do that, if you can look yourself in the eye and say, that version of me is dead, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start commanding. You stop doubting. You start executing. You stop reacting. You start shaping the world around you. This is your line in the sand. And I want you to go to the comments and type this twice to seal it. I walk alone now. I walk alone now. Because the moment you say that, you claim it all. The power, the pressure, the pain, the purpose. And from this point forward, you are no longer waiting for the world to recognize you. You move, you build, you own. Let the others scroll, argue, doubt, settle. You become the force they never saw coming. And the next time someone asks you where it all changed, you'll say, right here, right now. I remembered who I was. Now go. Don't repeat this. Become it.